Okay, we're live, so please call the roll.
Chair Mertzig,
Here.
Commissioner Livermore,
Here.
Commissioner Nikki Tobey, Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boschnick,
Here.
Councilmember Harrington.
Okay, so, you're Mr. Snyder?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. There's an agenda here, but we're probably gonna take these folks and then we'll take you. So I would like to amend the agenda to add under new business, probably 3A, Mr. Jonathan Snyder, he has an appeal for 1012 Forest Avenue. And you have paperwork there in front of you. We'll try to review it before we proceed. So we're going to start with under old business. We had a request from Jennifer DeLeo of 4 Moffett Street to consider her financial situation as an owner-occupant and waive the fees that were accruing but have now been satisfied for 4 Moffett Street. I think the financial information we received, I think, justifies that decision to waive those fees. I would entertain a motion to that effect.
So I'll second that.
Thank you. Since the financial information is confidential, we aren't going to discuss it here, but I think you've all seen it and reviewed it, so go ahead.
Chair Mertzig,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boschnick.
Yes.
Okay, so now we come to 313, 315 Chestnut Street. This is Mr. Gina and Ms. Corin? Yes, right. Who are the owners there. They appealed for administrative fees for electrical violations. I don't know what the other two were because they have been waived. The Code Enforcement Office reviewed the paperwork and already waived those 2 fees. So the only one we're considering is the $530 for the electrical violation that actually attached to the prior owner. I'm going to let you speak on that just a little bit, and then we'll let Mr. Gina talk about where they are currently, or you can.
Yeah, so I guess Gwen sent a letter from our office, and so you took ownership of the house in '22, it sounds like. The electrical violations that were on file from the previous owner in 2019. So the fees that you got were, I don't think you were aware that that list existed.
No.
So you had your own electrical inspection, and those violations are yet to be corrected, but,
Correct.
so that's the story on that.
Mr. Gina, you have had a current electrical inspection, and there may be some violations that are,
I've dealt with some, but I haven't had it re-inspected simply because of this, like I pretty much was.
those we are not
my
waiving.
kind was like,
Yeah, right, anything that is current where I wouldn't say that we're being asked to waive, but since all the electrical violations from the previous owner have actually been corrected, my suggestion would be that we waive this fee and this fee only, and,
I've got a
and-
question.
yes, certainly.
From when I had my inspection, do I have an amount of time before or to fix this before I'm charged fees? Because it seems like I had the inspection, I'm being charged for violation right away, and not having the ample time to actually fix the things before I'm being charged.
So
That's
there
kind
are-
of the question.
There are no fees attached to the violations generated from the inspection that you
My inspection.
correct. There are no fees attached to that inspection.
Yeah.
Well, we anticipate that you're gonna get them solved.
Of course,
Probably.
definitely,
Right.
definitely.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying. Okay.
Go ahead, questions?
The fees are because you didn't have an inspection.
No, electrical violations were not corrected that attached to the previous owner.
And so there was no way of passing the information along about the previous owner to this owner.
That was my question. I never got anything.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, so I didn't write that letter personally myself, and I'm not sure what follow-up happened and whether, you know, Gwen ever forwarded or you requested that information forwarded, or if it was an oversight on her part in terms of realizing that ownership had changed and
I mean, we got the property use form in the very beginning, like a month after we bought it, but that was it. When I sent that, I never got anything else until like, what, a year and a half later when that packet came from 2019 violations on it. And that was it. That was the only thing I ever got.
Usually that's all put in closing. So if there's a title search, we'll send a thing that
It
says,
definitely wasn't.
hey, well, no, I mean, typically an attorney will contact our office or whoever's doing a title search, and we'll send a letter that says there are open violations, there's no CC. That's typically included in any real estate search for this reason. And usually the fees are paid out in closing. So you buy a piece of property, the owner then pays the fees to settle whatever's owed to the city.
I was paying rent at that time when he got those violations for another 3 years after that, so.
So is it the case that the lawyer didn't do a proper title search?
It could be. I mean, we don't know the intricacies of their purchase agreement, but.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, that we don't know that, you know, because it would seem it would get picked up at that point.
It does, because typically we get a letter from the title company that says, hey, are there any open violations? And we send them a letter that says, yes.
One of the complications with the rules related to plumbing and electrical violations is that they have to be signed off on by the same contractor who identified them in the first place. And that's the complication between changing ownership. So I think apparently they have been corrected, and it seems to me that we have compliance, but we would be authorizing a relief since they didn't create them nor let them go. It was a ownership transfer question. Yes, their attorney probably should have asked that question, but they had no idea who, as far as I know, they had no idea who the contractor was who had identified the original violations, and therefore, how do you get them corrected when you don't know who did them originally?
So the administrative fee letters are sent out with copies of who did the original inspection.
Oh, they
It
are?
actually says
Oh,
that.
they are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not,
It says electrical violations attached. So we usually always
Oh.
include the original electrical inspection. So the reasoning behind having the same electrical inspector clear it is, you can imagine if you don't like the results of an electrical inspection, you can hire somebody else. We're currently dealing with that right now with another company, and that electrical inspector has been suspended.
oh,
So
I got a
that's what we get into with the electrical inspections.
I
well,
got a question.
what is your
Why
pleasure?
wasn't Dennis gone after, like, with these
I'll make a
violations, the
motion
2019 violations, not my
to
inspection?
to
How did
raise
he
the
get
fee
away with this
on that
for 3
one.
years after that until I bought it?
But I think
Could have been
we should
overlooked. I mean, a lot of
look
these
into
inspections
how
are
it's
overlooked.
overlooked,
Okay, right.
so you know, this-
Oh, were you?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It
it's,
happens.
a loophole there.
it certainly is a disadvantage to the the current owner if the previous owner had this thing, but it's,
But it seems it should show somewhere in the title search that there's a fee there, but like I said, in this case, I'll make the motion to waive that. But I'd like to do that in a few minutes.
thank you.
I'll second.
Further discussion?
I was thinking a focus of discussion would be, sorry, Andy,
because this would definitely come up again. How do we handle, so what are the exceptions? So,
The exception in this case is that Mr. Gina and Ms. Corin
there are new
are
owners.
owner occupants, and therefore they have a stake in having the property up to date. And I think in that case, I mean, these are complicated questions. And I personally think that it would be appropriate, since they are owner occupants, and we're happy to have owner occupants in the city,
yeah.
as opposed to absentee landlords, or just whatever, when you live in the property, you're more likely to keep it up. I think that is what is informing my wish to do this, to waive this particular fee, understanding that there's going to be a fee is coming to them. But it will be based on their inspection rather than the previous inspection. So we're not waiving, we're not saying he doesn't have to comply. We're saying, in this case, he has to comply, but he doesn't have to comply to what the previous owner did not do.
And also the fact that they corrected what was in there, and
That's right.
they started it.
Yeah. And if there are additional ones, that's on him. Additional questions? Okay, go.
Chair Martzick,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Nikki Toby,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boschnick.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys work with the Code Enforcement Office to get yourself up to date. I appreciate that. Okay, our next item on the agenda is Mr. Galster. You are appealing a fee for vacant property. Let me hear from the Code Enforcement Officer first, and then we'll come back to you. You had a building permit from July 2023 to July 2024. And what is this vacant property administrative fee based on date-wise?
Well, so the original letter was sent out in 2023. We were getting complaints from the neighbors surrounding the property. I think they said at the time that there may be a new owner involved, and of course we're always curious when a vacant property is either reoccupied or being worked on. And then we actually found out that Scott bought this, and we sent a vacant property letter because we figured it may take some time to repair. But the requirement is to register it and then submit a rehab plan. So we avoid having vacant properties bought at, $30,000 and sitting for the next decade with no work happening. So what happened here is that vacant property letter went out. Mr. Galster submitted a building permit application for renovation work that was going to happen. It expired in July. And actually, I think shortly after we got that registration, I emailed Scott and I was like, did you submit a rehab plan? Which we don't have. Now, since then, he has obtained a COC. So he has a COC, he is legal to rent the property now. But the period between July, when we don't know what was happening with the building, is when the fee actually went into play.
What's a CFC?
Certificate of compliance, that makes a rental property legal to rent.
We received your appeal in October of 2024. So the date, I assume that the $1,200 is from July to October 30th.
I see, yeah, it must have been, it says 10/1/23, that was when it was initially entered. I'm looking for the dates here, because it was actually sent at the end of 24 there. Let's see.
Did the,
Registered by 8/5. So when we enter those fees, the vacant property fees, they're on an automatic timer. So I would assume that's correct. It actually says 8/5, or I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find that fee here real quick. If I can get dates for you. Oops.
but what I guess my question while you're looking for your dates, the building permit voided the need for a restoration?
No. It voided, it's an exemption to registering it.
Oh, it's an exemption. Well, I guess I meant
So
to
he
say-
didn't have to pay $500 in 2023 because he opened a building permit. So that's usually,
I'm a little confused, so there's, is this correct, there's $3,600 worth of fees?
that's a misprint.
It's a misprint.
Yeah, that's a misprint. It's 12,
81, it's
Yeah.
1281.
And for what are those fees being charged?
so the vacant property, we have two different approaches to go after those. One of them is either you register the property at a set fee per year. So for residential buildings, it's $500. If you do not register those, and to ensure that something is happening to motivate, there's an administrative fee. So if you don't turn that registration in, an administrative fee will hit. So in his case, the 2023, he pulled the building permit. That expired in July of 24. So then the property technically is vacant again with no active building
The
permit.
1221, the 1281 is since the building permit expired.
There's dates in between when the building permit expired and the fee calculating. And like I said, when we create the fee, it's automatic. So like, if I were to come in here and show you the calculation of that, it's all based on computer generated numbers. So I could give you the dates and I could eventually find the dates here that they're equating for. But
That's
it
not
is.
my concern. My concern is, Mr. Gelster, why didn't you pay these fees? Why did you get them stopped?
I didn't even know that the permit, I had lost track of the date of the permit. So I didn't receive a letter or anything saying that the permit needed to be redone. It wasn't until,
So so if his permit expires, he doesn't get another letter?
It says right on the permit, they're good for 1 year.
right,
I mean,
I had just lost track of the date.
the intent of these fees are to prevent people from just buying vacant houses and sitting on them indefinitely.
Right.
So, I mean,
But in the meantime, he's actually fixed up the house that's rentable.
Right.
so this is one house that he's fixed up as rentable, but, I mean, we have a series of houses that are not.
I only have one other house like that. And that
Right, so
was-
Mr. Gouster, for example, he just said, he owns one of their house like that.
Yeah, we are
Has
working
been
on that.
unsafe, sitting vacant since 2012, 13, I think the board ordered it.
Well,
Unsafe.
this house here was in pretty good shape, so it wasn't near as much work.
Right,
The
Yeah, well,
house he's talking about. was
Right,
on
36,
fire,
yeah.
yeah, 10 years ago,
And we are
12 years ago.
we're whittling away at it because there's some scratches inside.
Right.
But the exterior of that second house he's talking about, got new roof, new siding, new windows. We've done everything outside on that house to make it look decent and make it look, and now we've been just going after the inside.
But
that
I-
isn't related to this.
Well, I mean, I was using it as an example of, the reason these fees exist is we don't want people buying houses that have had, a fire, been vacant, and they sit there for 5 years while the person says, hey, I'm working on it, I'm figuring it out. So in this case, Mr. Gouster's building permit expired. He no longer met the exception for the code. He did not communicate with our office, and he received a fee.
But in the meantime, that house was basically completed in October, and then I put in a request for an inspection, but the two code officers were out of town, some sort of a program, so as soon as we were able to get in there, it was December 5th. And I didn't receive the actual certificate till January 14th, so things do kind of roll along in that office
So
too.
your building permit expired in July,
Uh,
and then you said you had work done.
We were ready to have it inspected at the end of October, 1st of
So
November.
what did they do to the building without the building permit?
We were doing kitchen cabinets. That was the big thing, was remodeling the
You need a
kitchen.
building permit for a kitchen cabinet.
If it's part of a project that requires a building permit, then yes.
So your building permit expired, then you went ahead and worked on it.
We didn't know that I was forgotten the actual date.
I dealt with, you were the contractor of the building permit.
Yeah. I buy it myself, and then little by little we get it worked on. So when the permit was in force, we had a lot of work on it. We got down to the very end of it.
The building permit that I had, the contractor, not myself, was always quite fearful that the code enforcement people would catch up with them, so they're very careful.
Yeah, I have to say that it doesn't appear that the house was not vacant during the time that the fee was applied. I don't know that we can take any other action. I don't know. I guess I'll make a motion to deny the appeal based on the testimony of both the owner and the code enforcement office that the property has not yet been rented.
It is for rent. It's been on the market since the 14th of January when we got the actual thing. But it was inspected in December, and I had requested it inspected for November. And this says something about $350 a day. So I don't know how many days.
Well, you're appealing the fee that was imposed in September. So that's the fee that we're looking at.
I see.
We're not looking at any other,
Okay.
You had a motion? I'll second the motion.
I mean, as a homeowner in town, we do spend a lot of money on the taxes, the upkeep,
But-
and all that.
but this is
And
not-
So we were very active, and by the time apparently that ran out, like I said, I just didn't keep track, I'll be honest, I didn't keep track of when it ran
well,
out. But we were very close, and so we were just remodeling the kitchen cabinets.
apparently there'll be another fee.
Well, if it's actively for sale, it says for sale in the code, then we wouldn't fee him. He's got a COC, he's trying to fill it,
Okay, but there's no additional fee other than what,
no.
okay. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion?
So what is the amount of this fee?
Hmm?
What is the amount that you have written down?
$1,281. Go ahead.
Chair Mertzig,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicotobi,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley, Commissioner Boshnick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't think I have.
Okay. So at this point, we're going to put your additional appeals on hold just for a minute so we can take our other gentleman who's here. So, Mr. Snyder, if you'd like to come forward.
So will that be invoiced to me?
You'll get a decision letter
Right.
from the clerk,
Oh.
and it'll tell you.
Hi. So we have your appeal for the fees related to, you can have a seat if you want. I mean, we just like to be able to see you here.
You said please come forward.
Yeah, right, no, you don't, you can stand up, you can sit down, you do whatever you wish. Mr. Snyder is appealing quite a few fees that have accumulated over the course of 2023 to September of 2024. So it's almost a year of fees, which means that they were actually due, let's see. One was due in April of 2024, and the others were due in 2023. So this is for 1012 Forest Avenue, and I'm sorry?
No, I was telling Mark different packet so he could follow along.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to be subtle, I'm sorry.
I hear your request for understanding and for concern, since you were going through a difficult time at that time. Is he up to date at this point?
I believe he is.
I've had all the inspections done.
Yes, you're
And
waiting
I've
for a
also
CFC.
had the violations corrected also that were done on the electrical inspection.
This is listed as your home address.
I live at 10, I rent 12 out. It's a two-family duplex.
We have information from Otsego County that you are registered to vote in Maryland.
That's when I was going through a divorce. I was living with my mother 15 years ago. I just never changed
Where you vote?
from. Where do I vote? I vote in Westford, because that's where my mother lives. So when I was going through divorce, I was living there at the time. So that's when it was election time back then. I just never changed.
We do have the authority to consider financial hardship in the case of an owner-occupied property. However, we don't have any information from you on your financial situation. So,
May I just say something?
yes, of course.
Are we considering just financial hardship or the mental as well? For me, what's more important than the financial is the mental. And knowing the fact that our city is going through a lot of those kind of issues, and we have backlogs of therapists waiting for people, shortage of staff for therapy, and with this kind of information, it's hard for a man to put this down on paper. I'm thinking that our consideration should be on his mental health, so we don't have to maybe push him back in terms of some sort. So
I don't disagree with you, but the authority that was given us is to prove hardship. And yes, we can certainly consider that. But I would suggest we table this appeal and ask Mr. Snyder to give us some of your current financial situation, like your current salary versus taxes and whatever else, your mortgage. And it's confidential. We will not share it it will not be in any minutes, it will not be, but it would give us a picture as to your situation so that we could possibly waive these fees based on financial hardship. So based on your all decision, I would make a motion that we table this until we receive some additional information from Mr. Snyder indicating your situation. And then, I mean, these are big numbers. And I'm sad if you got yourself into this situation because unfortunately our fees are very, very high. We're glad that you're now in compliance. That's
Yeah,
really, really
I had
wonderful.
them the year before, I just paid them, and then, you know, whatever.
I
So
appreciate
can
your
do
coming
whatever
in.
I'm just trying to do whatever you need me to do to make the next step.
So if you would consider screenshotting or something like that and sending it to either myself, I'll give you my email address, and I can at least certify that your information is.
What do you want? Do you want like my current?
We usually
W-2s?
like your costs, so the cost for the house, your taxes, your, and some indication of your income.
Right, like W-2s or whatever.
You know, if you have car payments, if you have other big, we don't need to know everything you're paying for every day, no. But we can get a sense of where you stand in terms of being able to foot this bill. And we would consider it our next meeting.
Should we also get some more of a confirmation that it is a primary residence? Because it seemed that you brought up the fact that there was.
He's not renting the thing that he claims to live in.
Right. Yeah,
Well, I think that's appropriate personally.
That's,
Just like some confirmation that is your primary residence. Is there any way?
Yeah, that doesn't
I
seem
don't
that
know,
complicated.
show you my license right now.
Yeah, that's an example, that would be, yeah, that's what we would do.
You could just show it to the board members here. Just,
I mean, your W-2 would probably show that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got a
right,
W-2 in
right,
my
and
car,
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah, it's just like
Any-
financially, I could go out to my car and get my W-2 too,
yeah.
that I just got the other
looks
day.
good, it looks good to me, everything else looks.
I don't know about the
Well,
picture.
it's on the
It's okay,
W-2.
send it, that's fine.
Thank you, thank you, take it back. Okay,
Yeah,
so
well,
my,
that's
so there's a
20 years
motion, I don't know if anybody seconded it.
Not
I'm gonna-
yet. Next
You-
month
we did?
necessarily.
Okay,
Just like
second,
the person
please.
here in the front.
Okay,
Okay.
Phil.
I don't know if that's difficult for you
I
to
just,
hear.
yeah, I just.
So we're
I mean, I
tabling it
can,
to our next meeting.
You know,
Chair Marksey?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikki Toby?
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley? Commissioner Bashman?
Thank you. Thank you.
all right, thank you, so.
I doubt if you'll have to come back in, but
Right, that's what this gentleman was just saying.
you can,
Okay,
do you
so-
want to send to these guys? Do you trust them to keep your stuff confidential? You
Yeah,
have their
sure.
email address?
I'm an open book right now.
Okay, all right, great.
I became an
All right,
open book
wonderful.
about
Send it
6
to them
months
and
ago, so-
they will see that we get it. But
Okay,
it is,
so
it will be
I'm gonna give
confidential.
them my financials, get them to them, or whatever.
That would be
Okay.
really
All
great.
right,
Thank you very,
all right.
very much.
I'm off on Mondays and Tuesdays, I'll probably see you guys Tuesday. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have, we'll go back to our agenda, and we're on number 4. This is a appeal for 179 Main Street. The appeal reads, "We received invoices for failure to report inspections. The issue is we were unaware of due inspections. No one received notice. If we did, we would have had them done. The property changed hands because of deaths in the family. Building manager also changed and was unaware of the inspection schedule. We cannot afford almost $20,000 in fees. I also have recently informed this appeal process is the way to deal with this." We do have a signed receipt.
I take a picture of it.
Would you like a copy of it?
Yes, please. Because I'm being told to take 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So we have, I'm gonna give
It's in
you,
the big one. Just give them a little finish on it. Here.
Oh.
Actually, no, there's, actually.
Great, okay, thank you, Scott. That means I don't have to rip mine all apart.
You want me to have that? There's other pictures.
The question I have for you at the code enforcement office is, are these invoices were closeouts? The appeal came at the end of October of last year. Have they met their inspection requirements?
No.
So,
The letters, if that needs to be the defense. The letter that I see is dated February 27th, 2024, and it was signed for by somebody on March 1st, 2024, 4 or 5 days later. And the claim of the appeal is he never received a notice. Is that what I get? Are you defending these people?
Yes, I am.
You were not.
But I was told that, I mean, it's right here, plain as day. That's my only argument, like I said, they said they didn't get it. So, they got it, I mean,
They got it.
that's my only defense for that one. They lose.
I don't see and it also, at this point, fees are still accruing.
Oh, I know. I mean, I did have it.
So,
I mean, that's where the next article
I
comes in.
would make a motion that we deny this appeal.
Sprinkler that was.
There isn't any indication that there was any compliance despite receiving the letter.
She made the motion, would you
I-
be seconding?
Any further discussion, questions? Okay,
Chair Mertzick,
yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Nikki Tobey,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boschnick.
Okay, and now unfortunately, we're on to, and I guess we're gonna need some photos, of 179. We are also considering a unsafe situation at 179. Please tell us what we're seeing.
Go back to the top.
Could we go picture by picture and
There's-
you could tell us what we're seeing?
What case are we doing now?
This is 179 Main Street. These are not the pictures that you have in your packet.
So this is Maria Massaro.
179 is directly across the street from us. It has an Art Deco.
Oh.
I don't know who's in there now. Who's renting in there now on the first floor?
Creative confections.
Okay,
It's like a bakery.
yeah.
I'm not sure
The
what
Sweet
it's called.
Confections is in the downstairs. Used to be Time to Tan. And the upstairs is 2 apartments, one on the second floor and one on the third floor, I think.
No, there's actually 6 apartments in there.
6 apartments. Okay, so could we do these pictures one by one, and
There's
can
a
you
lot,
tell us
yeah, I
what
mean,
you're
there's,
seeing?
and there's a lot of redundancy in them too, but, you know, so evidence of.
Okay, so this
ongoing
is what?
leaking. Yeah, water damage tiles, apparently from ongoing plumbing leaks, or, you know, the tiles have not been replaced in a long time. In this case, the light is in disrepair, obviously, and the ceiling fan is just badly dilapidated.
Okay, so next picture.
There's water inside that light.
There's water in that light?
Not water, but there had been at some point.
Okay, keep going.
This is not major, I had taken that picture just because I wasn't 100% sure if that cover met, but I can see, as Stephen pointed out to me, there's a UL listing on that, so that's not really an issue. The open wall above it, I mean, it's kind of a marginal thing there, but
Okay,
more of the same, different unit. This unit is under renovation, but it's just, it's an example of the condition of all of it. You know, the cabinets are, and almost all the units are broken and dilapidated, and almost all of them show some evidence of leaking and have not been
Now, this is-
maintained or.
This is
remodeled.
less unsafe for us than some other things. Okay, keep going.
No, we're not there yet. The primary items that were concerning to me were, we'll get there. A lot of these are redundant, you can go through, if you have questions, let me know. If you could hear that the
The
fan
noise
is,
you pay in, yeah. But this apartment's not being rented. It's, yeah. It's actually been empty for quite some
There's
time.
apartments above where it's leaking, or is there a roof leak?
I wasn't sure, cause so there was damaged tiles on both floors.
This apartment is below other apartments.
Okay, next. Oh, this is your movie.
That was the fan.
That was a noisy fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next.
Right.
Next. That was an ongoing leak.
That's also in the same apartment. That's apartment one.
Those types of conditions you can suspect exist throughout the building as evidenced by the multiple stained tiles in almost every unit.
I will say, I checked a lot of these, like the tiles and stuff. I was
So
back
that
there.
means there were leaks, but they may
Yes.
not be there now?
Yes. I definitely dealt with most of those. The only one where this picture with the green around it was the only visible drip that I actually noticed. I was actually still kind of dripping, but not like, it was like very marginal, one drip every 10 minutes.
Where's
or
the
something
drip
like that.
coming from?
You can, if you actually go back,
Oh,
You
that,
kinda see
okay,
it
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
all right. Okay,
so that was the only one that everything else that I know about leaks was dealt with already.
okay. Where are we? Oh, this is the
That's the
stairwell?
back stairwell.
To the stairwell, I mean, should be a fire rated assembly. It has a hole in it that's not been
Okay.
repaired.
All right,
That back door was secured, but the front door hasn't been secured in a while.
We've had problems with people breaking in and out of there, sleeping in the hallways.
how much of this is currently rented?
You got upstairs, technically, and one person on the first floor.
And the,
I
and,
tried to cover that. I dealt with that the other day too. Somebody actually carved in the wall.
That was more just for interest, I did that.
well, okay,
Yeah, that's
got it,
what we're
right.
dealing with there, is that type of stuff.
Generally unsanitary, smelled like urine in the hallway, just gotta be honest.
It does.
Okay,
It does.
keep going, that's, what are we looking at?
Some type of
Staying on the
stain.
carpet. I went there today and there was actually cardboard in that spot, like somebody made a bed and was sleeping there.
Okay,
So I will say too, one of the other things is in the hallways that none of the exit signs were illuminated. The emergency floodlights, none of those operated when tested. You'll see in the future pictures here that we had some electric baseboard heaters badly in disrepair
That's the worst part.
with covers off of them, electric element exposed, the carpet laying against them.
That's the skylight with a plastic cover over it, because he's anal about it.
Right, but you can see that the fan in there is buried behind there, right? It's an electric fan, it's not accessible, it's not allowed.
okay,
I mean, I'd rather not do it, honestly.
Okay,
You
keep
make
going.
me Put that thing up there.
There's a light that's partially buried in the drop ceiling.
Where was that at?
This is the.
okay, this is the heating duct, okay?
It's, yeah, electric heat element there, yeah.
That's what's the place, I think.
This is a chain of, extension cords that are going to a space heater.
Actually, I did talk to them about that. The tenant that lives here.
That cabin's disintegrated, it's got no bottom in it, no door, and it should have been replaced 15 years ago probably. Doors busted off the stove, somebody apparently stood on the,
Yeah, that's a brand new stove. That's a
Right.
brand new stove. And his kid, I think, I don't know, he blames everything on his kid. But apparently his kid either fell on it or decided to step on it like a level to get up something and snap.
yeah.
Broke the door right off.
So the electrical junction box that it was plugged into, it pulled away from the wall and That's a, circuit panel that's behind the refrigerator, so not accessible. That's the circuit
I see
probably
that.
serves the electric heat in the unit. It's behind the refrigerator.
That is off.
I don't know, buddy.
There's another electric heater in that same unit.
That's the bad one. It burned the carpet though. It did at some point, it burnt the carpet.
So combine that with the lack of maintenance of the fire safety equipment and the egress pathways was enough for me to feel like it was a fairly unsafe situation there.
I mean, I agree with this.
Have we seen enough?
I'd
Okay,
also add
have
that
we
this
seen enough? Thank
property,
you.
I don't think it's
We're
had
good.
CSC.
Okay. So,
If I may.
I see that you have sent the letter indicating E and F as the conditions under Chapter 92. But you were also talking about egress issues.
So when I read the code and I didn't see any, it talks about having a blocked egress, which I don't think
Okay, so that wouldn't apply.
applied.
So based on these two conditions, are we willing to declare this property unsafe? Would you like to make a motion based
Can I
on,
just ask what that does?
pardon me?
What, by declaring it unsafe, what is that?
I'm gonna send you down the unsafe
We could decide
chapter.
to
You can
ask
give one to
to seal
Mr.
up the place, we
to
could
all-
decide to give.
I have
a order
enough for
immediate
everybody.
repair,
Oh, not that?
Which is
No, I
what
don't,
I'm-
but that's okay, I have the
Which is what
full.
I'm thinking of, the immediate repair option. I'll
Um,
make a motion that,
So, under Chapter 92, there are 11 conditions that if the property meets any of those conditions, we can declare it unsafe. That's step one. Step two would be to determine what the remedy, what our order should contain, and that's different for each property. So we have, if you look at Chapter 92-2, standards for repair, vacation, or demolition. Which apartments, you said there's just one apartment that's currently rented?
There's 5 that are current.
Oh,
No,
5.
4, sorry, 4.
Four.
4 that are being rented at this point. The really bad one, which was with the
What's the main one?
that was apartment 6, right?
Apartment 6.
Yeah.
Is that, you're in agreement with apartment 6 is the bad one?
Yes.
Okay, so let's determine whether it's unsafe, and then we'll talk about remedy,
I think it's unsafe, and I make a motion to,
okay?
on the grounds
Do we have a
of
second
92E and F.
to Ari's motion?
Chair Martic,
Yes?
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Nikitobi,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boschnik.
Is apartment 6 currently occupied?
Yes.
So one of the things we can do is order that apartment 6, which is the really bad one, be immediately
Do
vacated.
we know that that's the only really good one?
Well,
That's the one that's, would be a.
that's the one the
hazard if it
pictures
was, but
represented.
We're, like, I
He
actually,
was saying that those pictures represented that there might be something more there.
We've asked for the conditions to be remedied as soon as possible. so-
I actually, I thought, like you said, it was next week, this, when we were gonna talk about this. I actually planned on having those heaters dealt with by then, but that's why I was
So-
kinda shocked that we were doing it today.
So I hesitate to vacate all the apartments
So-
based on this apartment.
Well, we don't know that. He's just said this is the worst apartment. He didn't say it was the only
When was the
apartment.
last time this place had a CSC?
It expired in 2018.
The entire property demonstrates to me a disturbing lack of attention and maintenance. And
But
Why
that's
don't,
what
why
I'm
don't we,
concerned about.
all of
Tired
the.
of
We
it.
certainly can.
He said Department 6 was the worst department. He didn't say it was the only one that
Okay.
was really bad.
All right, fine. So
I
the
mean,
remedy, so the remedy is to order it repaired within 30 days.
And that's 6,
No, the
or
total,
all.
everything. I mean,
30
I
days
shoot
with those
for all of
fires,
them.
the security, those heaters, for me, the threat of fire is what is most, you know. with the
Well, they
heaters.
are, but it's, we can also order it vacated within 30 days. Again, in today's housing situation, I'm not, but on the other hand, I think we can order it repaired in 30 days and revisit it next
I mean,
time.
I'll throw in
Yes.
there, like, most of these tenants are in eviction proceedings as it is.
Oh, they're in eviction
Oh, yeah.
anyway?
Yeah.
Well, then we order it
It's
vacated
just
as
a matter
well.
of time before, once they were out, we were going in to fix stuff anyway, so.
Okay, all right, so so Mr. Gina is agreeing that ordering it vacated is actually in their interest because it assists
I don't know if
them
he's
in
gonna-
in
Winston's
eviction.
gonna be a hard one.
One is vacating at this time immediately would put them hardship because it's cold. We don't want to send them out in the cold, so give the
It's
repair.
gonna- Yeah, it's gonna be hard for.
So that when they repair, people will not be out in the cold and causing security issues for other residents.
I'll tell you right, if these people were to be evicted, it's gonna take months in court.
No, I've already started.
No, but I'm saying if the city were to take an action to evict anyone, it wouldn't be, it would be like
Oh,
summertime, it'd be
yeah.
cut off short by the time we got out of there.
So tell us what you want us to do.
so the letter that we wrote asked for these conditions, these unsafe conditions to be repaired within 30 days. And I think that if that effort fails, then we need to decide what we'd like to do. I wouldn't want, to see people that continue to live in an unsafe condition any longer than that.
Of course.
Well, no, like I said, I plan on having, I know before we talk about this, but.
I think we should order to be vacated,
How long? 30 days or less?
and also the building should be secure. If people are getting in there and urinating and sleeping there when they shouldn't be.
That's, see,
it
that
should
should
be,
that should be,
it should be secure so that nobody else can get in. And if there aren't any tenants in there, it's safe to the public.
can I say, I fixed this, I fixed
Would
these
you
locks so
accept
many
that
times.
as your motion?
Your claim is that people are still.
Well, it sounds like-
Since I'm not in full knowledge of all of that,
Breaking
probably somebody should make another
breaking it
motion,
now.
but I,
Yeah.
It sounds like they would like us to give them 30 days to clean it up, and then if it's
I-
not done
that
in
is
30
what I
days,
agree with, but what you
Yes.
said, yes.
and then
But-
if that doesn't happen, then we can take it a step further.
Then we could at our
Yeah,
next
that's
meeting
fine.
order additional,
Seems
Then I
reasonable.
would
Action.
agree to that, yes.
Yes.
So what's the motion?
You won't have hit
The
30
motion-
days by your next meeting.
Oh.
Just keep that in mind.
That aligns with
So
state
this
code.
Oh.
29, 28 days in this month,
Yeah.
yes.
So you won't have hit 30 days at your next
But
meeting.
we would know
So
by
let's
the next
give
meeting.
this
Right.
like 35 days.
okay, all right.
So
So, yes, because it's so close. So we order it repaired within 30 days, and we will put it on the agenda for the March
Next
meeting. That's your motion.
That's my motion.
Okay, and do we have a second? Well, okay, thank you.
So who will inspect and make sure the repair is done?
So I did the initial inspection, and I generated a report of violations, and I would go back and ensure that, they've been taken care of.
And that includes securing the building while they're doing these things? 'Cause
That was on the list.
see, that was part of my question, because the original discussion indicated the intent to have it secured as well. Is that part of your motion?
Having it secured, How
It's
does-
in their interest to secure the building. I don't think we have to order that because it's in their interest not to let squatters into the building. There is an active property manager, so
I won't put make that language.
It was part of
I-
the discussion.
I mean, I've had the cops involved, like, this isn't something that's just, I've talked to
I
police
think
numerous
I
times
think
over
we
this.
can be assured that that is not necessary. So additional discussion. Okay,
Chair Hartstick?
yes?
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikki Toby?
Yes.
Commissioner Harley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boschnick?
Okay, keep in touch.
Oh, yeah, no, I
Okay.
talked to him,
Thank you.
I'm like, Andrew,
All right.
sorry it took so long.
No, that's all right. That's what we do. Now we have additional, we've already, declared 32 London Avenue unsafe, what is your pleasure in terms of,
4244 Academy.
oh,
yes, yep,
Jack Nickerson's mailing address was 32 London.
yes, this is 42 to 44 Academy.
wait, where are we?
4244 Academy.
Oh, Academy, and that's the one you sent us the pictures for?
Yes.
It just didn't get on the agenda?
It's on there as London for some reason.
32.
I'm not sure if it came.
Oh, I
Yes, it
see.
is.
That's a typo. Okay. So it is 4244 Academy Street. We have photos. We have already declared this unsafe.
That amendment?
What's that? So 4244 was declared unsafe already, ordered vacated. And what we've got now, at the time that happened, and I have a video of when Steve and I went in, the conditions were very poor. There's a picture which I couldn't find in here, but the left side unit, the entire ceiling in the kitchen had collapsed. But we still had an individual living in the left side, and we had one individual living in the right side. Since then,
Despite the collapse.
despite that. Since then, we have got a slew of individuals that have moved in, and they're in and out of the building. The cops have been there. They've made 5 arrests in 3 days. We got a notice that Bassett healthcare workers were being followed by individuals out of this building. So what we're looking for is a fresh vacate order to say you need to get out of here. As you can see, I had to post it.
And my feeling is that if we have a fresh vacate order, we also need to secure the building ourselves. Like, we need to go in and put a lock on various doors so that we don't have to monitor it all the time in terms of getting in. So I would make a motion that we reorder this property vacated and order the city to secure the building. Whether it's plywood or whatever, and be sure that the utilities are off.
I have a second question. So Jack Nickerson has passed away, and I think last time I asked who's responsible, we don't know.
Still no one.
So we're gonna order vacated, which means the city will have to vacate it.
Yeah, we would go to court. We'll probably have to do a criminal trespass on the individuals that never had leases, and then we'll have to,
At what point does the city have to take over the property?
we have no mechanism for that. The city doesn't take over property.
So it just remains a trap, and every several months the city has to do something to fix it.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, there is a mechanism, but we would have to get an attorney, and then we would have to go to court, and it would turn into us then owning this house, and then we would have to figure out what we were gonna do with it.
So there's nobody to tear the building down.
I mean, we can't just, you can't go around and just tear down houses because they're vacant.
Hey, I can.
Yeah, I mean, so that, there's a lot of legal,
Not without
like,
checking with us first.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
so
a
the-
taking.
the legality of that is we could do that, and if we have to do that, we might do that, but it's not something we typically,
But at this point, we don't know who owns the property, so basically this situation is just gonna continue forever.
yeah, I mean, but the other side of that is we might, bring in $100,000 of cost to the city taxpayer for a vacant lot that we then can't sell to cover the cost that the demolition was. It's like a catch-22. I mean,
Well, but see, I'm not gonna live for 20 years, so you might. So in 20 years, how much damage to the city is gonna occur if the city has to keep doing stuff to this building?
Well, so what got us back to this property was a complaint from the neighbor that someone had left some garbage nearby, so this is right in somebody's community. And so the conditions there are affecting people around us, so we have to make some effort to
Yeah, I
clean it
believe
up.
we're doing what we can.
My concern is even about the people following, workers from the hospital. That's security, you don't even know who they are in the first place, so
let's do what we can here and,
Well, I
and,
think I understand we do what we can, but that's not gonna.
no, it
The
isn't.
city's gonna be sending police out there, the city's gonna be sending everybody else out there. Neighbors are not gonna be happy.
I mean, we could declare, well, if we declare it blighted, it's less likely somebody's ultimately gonna own it. It'll go to the county.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if the city council wants to use the mechanisms we have to take that house, we can. It's just, we would have to hire an attorney, and there's a process to that, and we have to go to court, and it's something we can do. It's just, it's not something I can do without the council approving it and agreeing to
No,
pay.
right, and it's not something we can order.
We can recommend.
We can recommend that
I'm sorry, what we, the solution we have now is just, okay, let's put another bandage on it, and this thing is bleeding, and we're just gonna bandage it for the
No,
next.
and it's, what you're saying is a concern to everybody in the city, that there are more and more properties that are neglected based on a complication.
Well, maybe the city council ought to be aware of this, and somebody other.
He is aware of it. This, you know, it's,
Tell them I'm pissed.
whoop.
You know my name.
Okay, let's call the
We're
roll.
doing, this is the best we can do, but this does not solve what I say is a
It
serious
is,
problem.
it isn't.
And your contention, well, there's a lot of properties like that, and I'm thinking, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
So,
I know.
I got no problem, I'll ask the mayor to put this on discussion agenda, and we can discuss this property, and we'll ask the code enforcement officer to come in and explain it to the council.
would be good.
We'll see what the council wants to lay with it, that's fine.
but you understand, it's not just this property eventually.
Yeah,
You're
it's,
gonna
it's,
have a lot more of these
it's,
starting
it's
up in the
sad,
next
it's
2
very
years.
sad.
You're gonna-
Well, like Steve's wants his fix.
Okay,
Chairperson?
let's vote.
They're gonna
Yes.
pop up
Commissioner
somewhere
Livermore?
else.
Yes.
Commissioner
People
Nikki
are gonna
Toby?
find
Yes.
another house.
Commissioner Hartley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boschnick?
Thank you. Do you have any other items to come before us?
Not today.
It's
I have one. The city of Oneonta has been requested to extend our water service to the Cooperstown All-Star Village. And it is up to us, because we are charged under the code to determine whether we extend service outside the city of Oneonta. I will be meeting with a team of people from the city to determine what conditions we want, and I would expect to keep you posted. And sometime in the future, probably, maybe as early as next meeting, but certainly soon, we will be asked to do it, and I'll fully, with your permission, I will fully inform you of how we're doing on that question. At this point, it isn't a question of whether we have the water capacity. It is other considerations, like what is the main gonna look like, and are we billing them at bulk, which I expect we will be. Is there going to be a water district out there? I can tell you, and I think I reported this at the last meeting, that we are very, very close to having a town water district, as we desired, in the West End.
There won't be shortage, likelihood because of what happened recently. Was it the beginning of the year or end of last year where we were all asked to economize water? Eventually, would we have issues, notices from New York City where we have to now cut?
That's something that has to be considered, certainly. And the village itself has wells. We will probably not use those for our capacity, but anyway, I'll keep you posted. There's a meeting next week, and I have some concerns that I'm bringing to the meeting: capacity, use of the water, some other things that I've noticed from I will send you the proposal, and you certainly can look it over. It's an environmental document, but it has some specifics in terms of what we get out of it. So I will send that to you I just got it myself, and I just want you to know that that's coming. And there's no action for us to take.
What do they
Okay.
do for water now?
Ask that again.
What do they do for water now?
They have wells.
You asked
They
them
have-
why they don't want to continue to use their well.
Well, right. The problem with their wells is that 3 out of 5 of their wells are in the floodplain. And so they're concerned about contamination. And I don't blame them. You know, we have a very secure system, and we are, you know, none of our water system is in a floodplain. So, but these are concerns that, you're right, why don't, you know, these are concerns we have. So I will send it to you, you can look it over, but also I expect to come to you with some specific recommendations as part of any agreement. That will, we're not just going to say yes.
Do you have any professional or expert on your team, like?
Oh, yeah,
a
we have the
professor from
city,
college?
we have the city engineer, we have several other qualified
So
people, so.
scientific
So no,
professionals.
it's not an amateur group that is meeting. So thank you, that will say